So this last week was pretty crazy. I drove across the country to my Venus line. I'm in my new home. It's kind of a mess. Just moved in yesterday. I'm filming this Sunday, as always, live in my Inner Circle membership community. And yeah, it's been an intense week for me. I imagine that is the case for you as well and for everyone else. It's a big time right now of transformation, and we're still a little bit clearing out 2025 energy. We're not yet in the new Chinese zodiac year. We're not yet, haven't had the lunar new year, haven't had the solar new year. So there is still a lot to kind of be cleaned up and dealt with in some major ways as we head into the next chapter of our life, or as I've been saying on my Instagram stories, a whole new book. We're really like ending out a major chapter of our life. I keep saying chapter, but it's really like we're starting a whole new book. Like I've shared, I myself just moved across the country to somewhere I had never been before and starting a new life. It feels really good. And it also is uncomfortable in a lot of ways and scary in others. But I know it's what is going to inevitably be better for me moving forward. And it's no wonder, no shock that it happened for me while we just had the new moon in Capricorn in my area of home in my chart. If you've taken my Become an Astrologer course, you know I teach you how to plan a move using your astrology. I teach you how to do a lot of different things for your life timing using astrology, like how to plan when to enter a relationship, when to date, when to start a business, when to have kids. What else do I teach? Also, when to move based on your astrology and really time out your life in a way that's going to be fully in alignment for you. And for me, I always move when things are moving through my fourth house. And that's what I teach you in that course. But it's never failed me to use astrology to plan my move. It's always been the case. Every time I've made a major move that has changed my life, it's always been when things are moving through my fourth house, which is usually in the middle of winter in January. And this move was no exception to that. I knew looking ahead at my astrology, I was trying to force it back in November, and I knew looking at my astrology, it was going to be the middle of January, just because of how everything played out in my chart. So astrology is literally your cheat code to life, but that's not fully what this video is about. I'll probably do a whole like update video and more in-depth video on that topic coming to my channel soon, so look out for that. Make sure you hit the little bell for my channel, and you have your notifications on so you know when a new video drops, because I will be posting a lot more regularly now that I'm in my new space. I'm really excited. So yeah, that's really the time period right now. We're all in this new phase of our life, and this new cycle is beginning in a major way. And this week is a lot more transformation along the lines of that, because we have so much moving into Aquarius and over Pluto. If you are in my membership and you watched my 2026 in-depth deep dive where I went into the astrology of each month of 2026, January has a lot of Aquarius energy. We're ending out Capricorn right now, and we're fully stepping into Aquarius more so this week, because we have Venus in Aquarius now. We're going to begin Aquarius season on Monday. Then we have Mercury move into Aquarius. We have Mars move into Aquarius this week. So, and all of that's going to move over Pluto. It's a lot of Aquarius energy. It's a lot of new life, new beginning energy. So that is happening in a very major way this week. And those are really the major themes of this week that we are headed into. Is there anything else I want to say about this upcoming week? We're going to have a lot challenge Uranus as well, because we start the week off with the moon in Aquarius, and then it will challenge Uranus. But we will also have whatever is still in Capricorn harmonizing with Uranus. So aka all of the change that we're making at this time is very supported, although there might be some challenges to work through of the emotional kind at the beginning of the week. That is going to help us evolve and grow in the ways that are needed for us to move forward into this change and new beginning. So that's a big part of this week as well. But by the end of the week, I feel like this is a similar energy every week where we start the week with a lot of like momentum for change and we end out the week with a lot of clarity on how to move forward, and what to maybe refine or make better or change in a more positive way. And so this week is more of that energy as well, because by the end of the week, the moon will have moved into Aries and give us the energy of kind of emotional renewal to prepare us for Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries very soon. I actually believe Neptune moves into Aries on Sunday. No, it is on Monday, early on Monday morning. Neptune moves into Aries. So that will be a big theme of next week's video. I might do a whole video dedicated to the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. So again, look out for more content coming soon. I'm so excited just to like have this new space, this fresh start. And I trust that you are in that era of your life as well in the ways that you need right now, because that's really what it's about, is getting outside of our comfort zone and stepping into something new that we've been wanting or building for several years. So it all happens now. And I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for me. Let me know how your horoscope resonates with you in the comments. Let me know what's going on for you in the comments. I love to hear from you all. Let me know. I'll reply to as many as I can. And yeah, I feel like that's all I want to say. I'm just so excited. Okay, let's start the horoscopes. Aries Rising. Your week starts off with an emotional focus on your long-term goals and visions. You might be reevaluating something about that, especially on Tuesday. There might be some big sort of pressure to change or innovate something about your finances related to your long-term goals or visions. Maybe even community as well, putting yourself out there around people or on social media more, really needing to be seen. That's where the big focus is for you as we head into this week, and where the shifts occur for you is in what you're doing, to make the most of who's around you and what you're doing with the people around you. You know, where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis. It's like really preparing yourself. In terms of your community, related to the long-term goals and visions that have shifted for you, that you're more stepping into at this time. There could be some positive shift with work as well, maybe with money and related to career, related to work. I think that was a focus for you last week, Aries. If I'm remembering correctly, there was a big focus on maybe stepping into something new with career or your public image, and that kind of positively changing and impacting your money in some sort of way. A lot of inner shift with money as well, maybe cleansing your possessions and things of that nature. As we head into Wednesday, there could be a lot of mindset shifts that are a big focus, subconscious things, what practices you have in your life that are really going to help you navigate all these changes. Whether that's meditation or a daily walk or whatever it is, like really focusing on what supports your mental health at this time, and having that, having a solid foundation there to move forward into this year. There could on Thursday be a positive shift and direction related to all of that as well. Maybe from your mindset, like you're really choosing to see things differently and stepping into a new version of yourself. And it all kind of feels like it clicks into place on Thursday. Although there could be maybe something that's challenged as well about your mindset that maybe kind of forces you to look at things differently. Um, you really have to be committed and disciplined with your practices in order to make the most of everything that's occurring for you. And then as we head into Friday, there's an emotional focus on you, on renewing yourself, whether that's, kind of refining your self-care practices or again, your mental health, your physical health practices, and getting really clear on what your kind of day to day looks like and what you need to do to take care of yourself that is really supportive of your long term goals and visions and helps you to align with them. There's this sense as we head into the weekend of really needing to take action, of really needing to move forward, of really maybe being fed up with something so that it kind of forces you to evolve and change what you have been doing. So you step into the new thing. And as we end out the week, there could be something maybe triggering as well that comes through your home in some way or a family member that maybe triggers you emotionally to, again, really evolve how you're showing up, how you're sharing yourself with the world, and who you have around you to ultimately really support your vision. And if there's not support around you, it's letting go of the people that aren't supportive so you can make space for those who are. So that is kind of how we end out your week, Aries. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your career. There might be something you're really wanting to do differently with career, with your public image. And that is just going to continue to be a focus throughout the week as we have so much moving into your area of career. I mean, it's really about taking everything you've been learning or teaching or writing or wanting to do behind the surface of things in the background. It's like really putting it out there to the world this week is going to be your major focus. um, Especially at the start of the week, there's a big emotional focus on your image, your public reputation, maybe wanting to promote something on social media or within your community, or put yourself around people who are really going to help you get this out into the world more. There's, I, you know, for the sake of sounding repetitive, there's just a huge focus on your career and what you're doing and what you're building. And there could be a positive shift around your mindset related to that on Tuesday, and maybe something about your identity that has been changing, your sense of self, that it maybe kind of all clicks into place of like, oh, I just needed to see it this way, or feeling more embodied in where you're headed versus where you have been. That's different than where you want to go now. So there's a big focus on that too, and there might be something emotionally challenging with career and with it, that maybe brings up an old version of yourself, and it's like, oh, actually I don't want to do it that way, I want to do it this way now. And so really moving more so in that new direction than getting kind of triggered back into the old. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto community, onto what you're doing, and who you're doing it with, what you're creating, maybe on social media or in your actual friend group or local community. And there's a big focus on emotionally moving in some new direction there, and an emotional drive to do so. Again, maybe to promote what you're doing in career, or what you're wanting to change about career, and getting some support through the people around you. Um, that's really the focus, the middle of the week. As we head into Friday, there could be something you're really wanting to do, that's maybe been building for a while, and it feels like the drive, the momentum, the person you were meant to meet in order to do this thing or feel inspired to share this thing, like it really all clicks into place by the end of the week. There's also a big focus over the weekend on your mental health and on making sure you don't neglect you to do this thing and to move into this new direction, and that you really have some sort of balance, whatever that looks like for you, with your practices, with how you care for yourself. And there could be something really triggering around that on Saturday that maybe forces you to evolve your practices or your routines in order to actually better support your mental health and support yourself through your daily practices and your daily routines, so that you don't get so swept up in work, that you neglect your own self. As we head into Sunday, there's a big focus of that as well, and in a sense of emotional renewal. But there could be something about needing to put energy into self care and things that is challenging work. Um, So again, it's like find your middle ground and don't burn yourself out by putting too much energy into what is building and really moving forward in career. So that's your week ahead, Taurus. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. Your week starts out with an emotional focus on what you're learning or what you're teaching, on your perspective of life as well. There's a big transformation happening for you in that area. It really is building all week, and it's going to continue to be a focus this week and really throughout the rest of the month. Is on your perspective, your philosophy of life, how you're viewing the world around you, and how that is creating your reality or perpetuating a reality you maybe don't want. So there could be a lot of realizations around that as well this week, especially Tuesday. There could be something really challenging or really conflicting about how you're viewing things, and that might bring up some subconscious beliefs or patternings, or maybe even past life stuff if you believe in that. Of like, oh, I don't want to do things this way anymore. I don't want to view life this way, or I don't like. I really need to like teach myself a new way of going through life, of viewing life, and viewing things like this, so that they don't keep repeating. There might also be a focus on just cleaning stuff up. Like if there's stuff you've been neglecting or avoiding responsibility around, there's a big focus on like cleaning stuff up, like really doing due diligence, maybe writing a list of like, okay, what have I put off? What responsibilities have I neglected? What do I really need to make sure that I do? And then like not doing anything else until you do those things. It's kind of the energy as well. Um, like, there's been a tendency to maybe distract yourself from doing things you really need to do that it's in the background energetically, it drains you, so, there's a need to really get responsible with things, um, this week, maybe Tuesday. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your career, onto your public image, maybe what you're creating or what new direction you've been headed with career, and what emotional drive you're putting into that. That's a big focus, middle of the week is really on your image, your reputation, what you're doing with career, what you're creating. Um, and that it feels like that supports a lot of positive shifts as well that are needed for you. That's going to continue to be a focus into Thursday, and there could be something around that focus that positively benefits your finances, your money, in some way as well. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your community, your friendships, might be socializing, but there's also a need as well to, again, not neglect responsibilities, and to really put yourself around people who inspire you, who motivate you to live the life you want and make the changes that you've been wanting to make. There's a lot of momentum this week for positive transformation when you're focused on what you're building instead of where you have been. So really having this kind of futuristic visionary lens for your life and focused on that is going to be the energy over your weekend. And there could be something triggering about that on Saturday related to maybe money, or possessions in some way. Maybe old identity wounds are brought up emotionally, and it just kind of doesn't feel super comfy. It feels a little triggering, but it is going to propel you to evolve. And that energy could continue into Sunday as well a little bit, and maybe bring up some old beliefs that aren't super comfortable to look at. But again, it's helping you evolve and grow so that you really step into this new chapter of your life, in a way that's fully aligned. So that's your week ahead, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your resources. Maybe that's investments, maybe that's taxes, debt, anything like that. Could also be emotional vulnerability or sexuality, intimacy. But there's some big transformation happening there for you. And at the start of the week, there's a big emotional focus on that. And it could on Tuesday trigger something about a friend. friend situation or community or something on maybe on social media, whatever change you're wanting to make with any of those things, it feels like there's something emotionally that kind of triggers you around it, but it also shows you what is left to evolve as it relates to those areas of your life. But this whole week there's a big shift into getting deeper with yourself, getting maybe more vulnerable or deeper in your relationships, maybe even with money in your possessions, like where money is going, what you're doing with it, how you're paying things off, etc. Could maybe be shared resources if that applies to you, like money, with roommates or in a marriage kind of thing as well. But there's a big need for you to make some sort of change or transformation as it relates to that, to be more in alignment. As we get into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your perspective, onto maybe something you're learning or teaching, some new direction you've been heading in the past year. And that's maybe shifting your perspective and how you view life in a really big way as well. So there's an emotional focus on that middle of the week and into Thursday. There's how do I say? There's something maybe you're really needing to be disciplined with, and get really clear on how you can commit yourself further to it. Maybe that's going back to school, or maybe that's learning a new skill that's going to help you like be more creative, or develop your spiritual gifts more, or something of that nature. So there's a big focus on that at the middle of the week as well, and I feel like you're going to be supported and expanding your self-care through that as well. Maybe it's like you're actually doing yoga, or you're actually meditating, you're actually taking care of yourself in a way that you've maybe been putting off, um, as we kind of get into the towards the end of the week. Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your career, on what you're doing there. There might be revelations in that area of your life, maybe related to money or shared resources. There's also a huge focus on, making that change, making that transformation within your shared resources, within debt or taxes, things I talked about at the beginning of your horoscope. Huge focus in that area of your life this week. And Friday, that gets kind of a boost, and also brings in career in some way. Saturday, there could be something triggering that happens with career, or your image or your reputation. Maybe you're out and about, and there's maybe something that is a little bit triggering about something that happens or an interaction you have. But again, it's showing you what needs to really be looked at within yourself to heal and evolve and grow in ways that are ultimately going to benefit you and where you're headed, even if it's uncomfortable in the moment. And there might be a little bit more of that on Sunday. Maybe something about a social interaction triggers whatever you're changing about money, but it also is going to show you maybe where there's more room to grow and evolve, in both of those areas, and maybe also show you that there's somebody in your life you've had around you don't want to have around anymore, is what I'm getting as well. So let me know how that resonates for you, Cancer. That is your week, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your relationships, on the people in your life. There might have been a relationship recently that was transformed, or maybe you're just in general transforming and changing a lot about who you have around you and who you spend time around. There's a big focus on that at the start of the week and making some sort of major change with it. There could be on Tuesday something about that is really challenging, a change you're wanting to make in your career, or a change you have made in your career. Maybe you don't feel supported by the people you have around you and what you've changed in career. And so you're needing to, put some more time and energy into cultivating better relationships that feel more aligned, and that ultimately feel more supportive for you. So that's a big focus of your week. If you're single and wanting to meet somebody, like this is this is kind of the time to be heading in that direction, or getting really clear on like what you're not willing to put up with when it comes to meeting people or a romantic partner, and like what you actually want moving forward. There's a lot of potential for that, for there to be a major change within your romantic relationships in the coming weeks. And so right now the focus is really on getting clear with what you want that to look like. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, into maybe vulnerability and intimacy as well. It's another way this could show up. Um, Spirituality as well. Maybe really needing to listen to your intuition a lot more. And this could look like maybe if there's something about money you've been avoiding, debt or taxes or anything like that, there could be this really big need to get clear on it, to get, be responsible for it and not avoid it anymore. So you can move in a new direction and kind of clear up the energies from the past. That will especially be the energy on Thursday. But there could be something, about relationships again that really forces you to change something within yourself. There's a lot of subconscious patterning coming up this week as well for you, Leo, that you're becoming aware of, maybe how it's created certain situations or certain relationships in the past, and you're wanting to shift it, you're wanting to change it. And so, again, that's a big focus is like, okay, what maybe patterns or things about people before did you write off or not pay enough attention to, and how can you really like learn the lesson from that and move forward with it, to not repeat those cycles and those patterns, and really move in a new direction, have a new a new relationship if that's really what you want right now, or a positive change in a relationship you're already in. um As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your perspective of life. So again, there might have been a really big theme of past patterns or habits or things like that brought up this week, and you're really learning how to navigate it and how to change it, how to shift it so it doesn't keep repeating. I almost feel like I'm repeating myself and saying that over and over, but it's really the energy of the week for you. And as we end out the week, it's more about integrating it, what you've learned, and stepping fully into a new direction with everything. If you're wanting to maybe travel or go somewhere or do something that's, kind of maybe out of your normal, um, that also feels supported as we head into this weekend. And maybe you can meet somebody through that. You'll have to let me know because I feel like that's really specific. But come back and let me know in the comments if you meet somebody over the weekend and you're single and like wanting to get out there, because that feels like a very real possibility if you're doing, this inner work, inner love on yourself to really shift what's underneath the surface, creating these situations that are less than favorable in the past. There could be something really triggering but equally healing that happens around that on Saturday. Um, there could be something really that challenges, again, your belief systems and what was going on underneath the surface to create these situations that you don't want to keep perpetuating. As we get into Sunday, there could be something about relationships that challenges an emotional focus on your career, or maybe you get some clarity about how to evolve or grow something in your career from a person in your life that, maybe it's like it sounds so counterintuitive, but it's like maybe an argument you have with somebody in your life that is like, oh, you know what, actually I'm going to do this in my career, I'm going to do this for work, I'm going to do like move in this direction, or this is how I want to be known to the world. And it's almost like you, whatever challenge you have with somebody, it propels you into that. So even though it's like hard in the moment, it's ultimately better for you in the long run. So that's your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Virgo Rising. Your week starts off with an emotional focus on your health. There might be something you're really needing to change about your health, like maybe getting a full, what is that called? A full panel blood work done to see like what's going on in your body, or what's going on with your health so you can better take care of you, and your physical health. Feels like a very big focus at the start of the week of like getting really clear on what you need, to be really supported. Maybe this also could show up in work in some way, making some change to your work that's necessary to move in a new direction. There's a big emotional focus on what you're creating, on what you're putting out into the world, what you're doing on a daily basis for work, and also to take care of yourself. There could be on Tuesday something that is really challenging, with that area of your life to your perspective or your belief system. Like, an example of this could be if you've been a natural medicine person, Like you might have to see like an actual doctor to get more clarity or answers on what's going on. And that can really challenge like, okay, I don't really love like the modern medicine path or whatever it is, but you kind of have to see it from like it has its benefits. Um and you know to trust your intuition at this point on um what actually is for you and what's not when it comes to modern medicine. But I think it's going to help you to have some sort of answers as it relates to that. So you can really have this fresh start this year with health and with feeling your best, and with your longevity. This could also apply to work as well. There could be something really emotionally challenging with work on Tuesday also if it's not health. But I do feel like there's because of this and maybe getting answers with certain things, there's a shift in your creative inspiration. There's a shift in maybe what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world. That really does feel supportive, even though there are some maybe challenges on Tuesday as well. It leads to harmony. As we head into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your relationships. You might be really focused on people in your life, on who you have around you, who you're spending time with, on maybe getting clarity about something within a relationship, whether that's romantic or otherwise. It feels like the middle end of the middle to end of the week, you're really spending a lot more time with people, and harnessing connections that feel very supportive and nurturing, especially on Thursday. There's maybe something too, you have to set boundaries with somebody in your life around, or maybe just setting energetic boundaries for yourself to feel better about something, or working with someone, or a certain relationship within your life. And then as we head into Friday, there's a really big focus on, even more so, on your health and making some sort of change or transformation to your work, to your day to day, to better support your health or better support your work. There's also an emotional focus, as we really get into the weekend, on your resources and on debt, on taxes, investments, what you're doing with money, and maybe getting kind of maybe brainstorming new ways of creating money, of bringing it in a way that feels better for you moving forward, and really working through more integration and embodiment of releasing old poverty stories or belief systems, things of that nature as well. And maybe these shifts that you're making with work or with health feel supportive of that, or vice versa. And that could, there could be something on Saturday as well that comes up around that, really emotionally triggering. That kind of brings up an old maybe wound with resources or feeling supported. And it's maybe like the old identity shows up a little bit, and you're like, wait, this isn't me. This isn't how I want to be. This isn't how I want to move forward. Viewing these things in my life. So, it's kind of like a quick revisit to the old you. And then you're like, wait, never mind. That's not me anymore. And this challenge, this conflict is really about stepping into the new you. And into Sunday, there could also be something emotionally triggering around that with health or with work. As we talked about earlier in the week, those are the major themes coming up for you all week, Virgo, and they happen in various stages and in various ways throughout this week. But by the end of the week, you really have more answers and clarity on what needs to change about your work or your health, in order to support where you're headed and where you're going. And how you're moving forward and what you're doing to get there. So that is your week ahead, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments. I feel like that was kind of specific for you this week. And I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. Your week starts off with an emotional focus on your creative passions, what you're putting out into the world. There might be this renewal of inspiration, of wanting to create, of wanting to share things. There's a lot of focus on dating and romance. This is both these things are in the same area. And also on what you're creating. And maybe those are supporting each other for you. Maybe you've met someone new and it's really feeling fueling your creative inspiration, to put more out there into the world that maybe you've been wanting to for some time. You've been heading in this new direction, or this different direction with your work. And so there's a huge focus on what you're actually creating, to do so this week and moving in that new direction fully. On Tuesday, there could be something about that maybe challenges resources or challenges money. Maybe you're realizing, like, okay, I really need to have a backup, and what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world related to your passion, is really starting to you're really starting to get clear on, like, okay, I want this to be a stream of income, or I want this to bring in more income for myself so that I can have more options. I can have more, um, what is the word? Like resources, but I don't know. The word's not coming to me. But it's like something challenges you or motivates you to really get clear on what that looks like long term, so you can bring it in for yourself, right? A big thing with manifestation is clarity. So you're getting more clarity on what you want that to look like, and maybe what changes you need to make, in order to support that. It could relate to your home as well. There could be things that, are really coming in through home or through family that support these changes you want to make as well. And what you're creating, what you're doing, could be related to all of that somehow. As we head into Wednesday, there's even more focus on what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world. There's a big emotional focus on your work and on what you're doing on a daily basis to support your work and to support these changes in your career, and where you're expanding and in all of those things and all of those areas. There could be a big mindset transformation as well that supports more creative inspiration and more motivation to put energy into what you're doing and what you're building and what direction you're headed with all of these things that are different from where you had been headed or what you have been doing, the past couple years. You're really building a dream, and you've been building it, but it feels like you're actually living it now, and you're fully aligned with it, and it's really all coming together, and you're realizing that, this week. Friday, there's an emotional focus on your relationships and maybe a sense of emotional renewal within your relationships. This could be romantic or otherwise. This is relationships in general. And with that, there's a lot more action and forward momentum happening in your creative pursuits. I mean, it really is just building all week. Like, you're going to end out the week, I feel like, so creatively inspired to just do things related to your passion and, what new direction you've been headed there for the past couple years, especially on Friday. There's just a lot of momentum towards that and stepping in some sort of direction with it. Saturday, there could be something emotionally triggering about relationships and career, but it might bring up a revisitation of an old version of yourself in some way, and maybe to get you to realize, like, wow, you have really changed and you have really grown, and you can't approach life the way that you would have before anymore. So it's about really stepping into the new version of yourself and integrating it and feeling more embodied in it. And as we end out the week on Sunday, there might be something emotionally triggering with resources, with debt or taxes. But I feel like you have so much support through your creative pursuits and maybe romance or dating, that it can help with this challenge that comes up as we end out the week. It's a temporary emotional challenge or frustration, but I do feel like it creates fuel for and motivates you to do even more, to step into the new direction with work and with career. Um, so that's what I have for you, Libra. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your home. There might be something you've really wanted to change about home, and it's all kind of coming together, this week. Maybe you're wanting to make a move or something like that, really transform your family in some way or your home in some way. Transform your family is kind of like, there is energy if you wanted to to welcome in a new family member. There is energy for that this week, but that's only going to apply to some of you. But anyways, the emotional focus is on your home. It's on your family. It's what you're doing there, what you're changing about that. That's more aligned with your values and ultimately more aligned with the vision that you're headed into, especially for this year and just moving forward for really the rest of your life. And there's a big focus on that all week. As we head into Aquarius season, it's really on your home, making changes there that are going to support you moving forward um, to have this new beginning. It all starts with your foundations. So, what are you changing about your foundations this week? There could be stuff, if you're not actually moving or changing something about your home, there could be stuff that comes up with childhood patterns, conditioning, things that you're wanting to shift um, as well, like a lot of deep inner work. As we head into Wednesday, the emotional focus moves on into your career, onto your creative pursuits as it relates to your career, or maybe romance or dating or children as well. But for most of you, it's on what you're creating. It's on what you're putting out there into the world, and maybe how your foundations, your roots, really plays into that. Really plays into your creative inspiration. This could also be wanting to start and share your spiritual gifts more, whatever direction you've been headed for the past 2 to 3 years with creativity or spirituality. There's a lot of momentum towards really heading there this week and really making that a focus. The middle of the week on being disciplined and committed with this direction you're headed with all of those things. And maybe something has to shift in your perspective in order to see things differently, or really see your passions as a gift and your maybe obsession or your creative pursuits as a gift that needs to be shared with the world. As we get into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your work, onto what you're doing on a daily basis for work, and also how you're taking care of your physical health through that or having a work life balance in order to not neglect yourself and your self care. So there's a lot of focus on that over the weekend, on really what you're doing on a daily basis to take care of yourself and not neglect your needs, because that feels like an old version of you and we're not taking that with us into 2026. And there could be something about that that gets triggered on Saturday as well. But as we head into Sunday, it feels like there's a lot of momentum towards, again, making this change in your home. And there might be something that really challenges you to evolve with that. Maybe somebody in your life really emotionally frustrates you in order to change something about your situation within your home or within your family, or maybe even trigger something, a belief or a pattern from childhood that you didn't realize was still hiding out underneath the surface and really forces you to evolve and grow past it so you can head into the new. And that's your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your communication and your day to day as well. I feel like there's been a speed, like, how do I say that? Speed growing within what you're doing on a daily basis. Like maybe you've been more busy and needing to be really clear with your schedule of like, okay, on Tuesdays I do this, from 9 to 10 I do this. Like really need to get clear on what you're doing and who you're talking to, where you're going on a daily basis, so that the changes you're making there actually support you moving forward and really align with your values, and that you're not getting swept up in chaos and kind of forgetting to get clear on a plan so you can feel more free, as opposed to getting swept up in chaos and then feeling like, things are falling off, and then feeling like you're trapped by those things. And there could be a lot of, especially on Tuesday and into Wednesday, a lot of support in your money through work, or maybe some changes you're experiencing in work or doing differently in work really support your money in a positive way to help you move in some sort of new direction there. Could very well be related to the stories within yourself, the way your belief systems are changing and how you talk about all these things as well. It's really getting clear on what you want your life to look like moving forward, so you can align with it in a deeper and better way. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into your home. You might be wanting to spend more time with yourself at home in your spiritual practices. Wednesday and Thursday, there could be something you get a lot of clarity around as it relates to needing to spend more time alone, or again, adding that to your schedule of like, okay, on this day, I don't talk to many people. I meditate. I go out to nature. I do, things that I want to do for me as opposed to getting swept up in busyness. And so there's a big focus on like getting clear again on whatever that is that you need to do to take care of your own needs and alone time, um, and not get swept up in other stuff. And there could be something on Thursday supportive around that, through a relationship in your life, maybe an intimate connection, a vulnerable connection, someone you're dating or living with, or something like that. There could be support through that as well. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your dating, your romantic life, as well as creative passions and things. So there could be a big focus, as we head into the weekend on what you're doing creatively and feeling inspired to maybe do something differently, or maybe what's healing about your dating or your romance. That's also supporting creative inspiration, and you wanting to have a new chapter with that, as the new version of yourself. Whatever really has been healing for you over the past 7 years with dating and with romance, it might all kind of come to a head over the weekend, and you get final clarity around that. This could also apply to spiritual practices or creative pursuits as well. Some sort of passion for you that you're wanting to heal, and maybe help others with as well. It's become your gift, through your own healing of it. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not explaining it clearly, but there's something really big that you get insight over the weekend about and want to start to maybe share with others and bring into maybe your work in some way. And on Sunday, there could be something emotionally challenging about your work related to like your day to day. Again, it's all kind of coming back to what do I need to take care of on a daily basis or do on a weekly basis, and how can I create that space and time for myself instead of waiting until it's a frustration, or a conflict. So that's how we end out the week for you. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your money, on your resources, maybe making some major change with that and getting more aligned with your values, what you actually want to be doing with money, to make money, your resources, possessions. There might be some big purge that you're focused on as well at the start of the week. So you can head into a new direction and really have a new relationship with your money, with your resources, in all ways. Tuesday, there could be something challenging about that and creativity or dating. There could be something that, there's a need for you to maybe change something about how you're creating, related to a passion, or how you're going about dating or a romantic connection with somebody, and your ability to emotionally focus on resources or money. Those two areas of your life could challenge each other on Tuesday so that you grow and evolve. As we head into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your day to day, onto really what you're doing, who you're talking to, where you're going on a daily basis. Maybe there's a big need, an emotional drive to move in some sort of new direction with that. This could also apply to your internal communication, and your belief systems and things of that nature, and maybe needing to get more committed to or disciplined with a spiritual practice or a creative practice that really helps to ground you and really helps you to feel more in flow with what you're doing on a daily basis. And there could be a lot of support for that on Thursday through a relationship, whether that's romantic or otherwise. Could be a friend, could be somebody you're partnered with. It feels like those two areas of your life really support each other on Thursday. As we head into the weekend, Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your home and family. There could be a lot of momentum towards something in your money related to that. the focus on your money is really building all week, and making some sort of major transformation to money, in some way. And maybe you have some support through family or something, as we head into the weekend. There could be a positive change with your money as well over the weekend that maybe supports your home or supports your family in some way. But on Saturday, there could be something about that that challenges your ability to expand in relationships, or how you've been maybe wanting to move in a new direction with relationships. It feels like the areas of home, family, and who's around you are challenging each other. So there might be something come up around that so that you get clarity on what needs to change or what needs to really evolve, so that you don't keep repeating these old wounds, um, and they really finally go through a cycle of healing for you and you step into a new identity. On Sunday, as we end out the week, there's maybe something emotionally challenging between your creative pursuits and money. Um, it's a temporary frustration. Maybe something you've created didn't have the monetary impact you wanted it to have, or something like that. This could also apply to romance or dating. There's some sort of frustration that forces you to evolve in both of these areas of your life, and become more embodied in whatever changes or new direction you've been heading with creative pursuits, passions, and dating. So that is your week ahead, Capricorn. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. My God, there's a huge focus on you, your sense of self this week, making major changes to your identity. Maybe that, impact every single other area of your life. There's this big sense of renewal, especially Monday, emotional renewal. There might be something you really need to change about yourself, related to your values, related to your self worth, as we head into a whole new chapter for you. And this might have been building for the past 2 to 3 years, and it feels like it all comes to a head this week as we have so much moving into Aquarius and really putting the focus on you and making changes to you that are going to support you moving forward. On Tuesday, there might be something about that that challenges a change you wanting to make or have been making in your home or family life. It feels like maybe what you've built with home or family doesn't support where you're headed, and so there might be a need for you to change that, or change your belief systems around it, or really heal some sort of childhood patterning that's underneath the surface in order to have a change on the external with it. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your money. There might be some new direction you've headed with money, or been moving into with money, or wanting to head into. That gets an emotional boost. And maybe there's an emotional drive to really do something, create something, put it out into the world. Maybe related to the changes you're experiencing in your identity and your sense of self. Maybe in your body, there's just a lot changing about you, and a huge focus on you, a renewal in so many different areas, that all come down to who you are and how you're presenting yourself to the world, right? And so that ripples out into everything else. And you're really feeling it this week, especially middle of the week. I mean, like I said, there's a huge focus on your money, your possessions, what you're creating to bring in money, maybe in new ways that feel more expansive for you. There's a big focus on that and boost emotionally on Thursday. As we get into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your day to day, onto your communication, your ideas, how you're sharing information, how you're putting yourself out there, who you're going to, where you're going to, and who you're talking to on a daily basis. Maybe it needs, maybe you need to put yourself around all kinds of new people because you've changed so much. I don't think you can fit into the old crowd anymore. So there's a big focus on, okay, well, where do I go now, or who do I talk to now? And it's about putting yourself in places that align with you and how this new you that's emerged. It's almost like you're coming out of a cocoon this week, and there's a big recalibration that needs to happen because of that. And maybe some changes to your where you go and what you do, and also maybe how you communicate to yourself and communicate to others. There could be something around that on Saturday that's triggering, maybe something through work that happens, or through somebody you talk to that maybe triggers an old identity to show up and resurface. And it's a short term emotional frustration that kind of forces you to realize maybe what is there still underneath the surface that maybe needs some more love, needs some more support in order to further step into this new identity and version of yourself. We end out the week with the emotional focus on your home. There could be something challenging about that, home or with family, that again challenges or directly conflicts with you and your ability to focus on the changes that are happening with you. But again, it is a temporary emotional frustration that ultimately supports you to evolve and grow in the ways that you need, in the ways that you've been wanting. So that's your week ahead, Aquarius. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your subconscious. So there could be something really majorly changing about your energetics. It's hard to describe energy and frequency, right? Because it's something you feel, but there's a lot changing about your inner world and how that's like what that's radiating out whenever you go somewhere. And so that's really, the big focus at the start of the week, and, and then the momentum that's kind of building all week is in your subconscious. It's in on these inner themes of how you interact with the world and what is going on inside of you when you are interacting with the world, and maybe what needs to further shift energetically within yourself. Maybe you're learning more about psychology or mental health in order to have shifts, or doing energy work or something like that in order to have these shifts within your inner world, because that's really the major focus for you, especially on Tuesday. There could be something about that challenges an old version of you that would, felt comfortable going to certain places or around certain people, and you're realizing like that actually doesn't support where you're headed or who you've become. So there's a need to maybe change that, and it feels a little emotionally challenging on Tuesday, but ultimately it is better for your growth and your evolution and where you're headed. Wednesday feels like an emotional renewal. It feels like you got clarity on what needed to maybe change, and there's this sense of feeling different. There's this sense of really headed in a new direction with your identity, your sense of self, how you carry yourself, how you present yourself to the world. And maybe there's this newfound level of maturity or humbleness with that as well. Continues to be a focus on Thursday, and that could support some creative inspiration or motivation. What's been expanding with your creative passions. This could apply to romance or dating. Maybe that's feeling more in sync as well. Intimacy. It all feels like it gets an emotional boost on Thursday. Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your money. Maybe there's something you're wanting to change there, or just getting clarity around something to do with money, heading in a new direction with that. It feels like very much related to these inner shifts, that these subconscious shifts that you've been doing, these mindset shifts, positively supports and impacts your money as we head into the weekend. Although Saturday, there could be something emotionally triggering with money and what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world. Could apply to romance or dating as well, but it's like, okay, something might be emotionally frustrating in the moment, but don't let yourself act from an old version of you. Like, really, if the old version of you is triggered, handle it how the new version of you would, right? Instead of reacting like the old version of you would. You always have a choice. And I think there's going to be this moment on Saturday where you realize, like, oh, I need to handle this differently, from the new version of me that I've stepped into, even though the old version gets triggered. Does that make sense? As we end out the week on Sunday, the emotional focus shifts into your communication, your mindset, and what you're doing to really make those changes in your inner world that are going to ultimately support your outer world. There could be something triggering again or challenging that comes up around those themes, but it also feels like, again, it's what is needed in order to grow and evolve and head in the new direction. So that's the week ahead for you, Pisces. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week.